Welcome to Remember, the show about histories, mysteries. And did you know that the city of San Francisco was completely destroyed in 1906 by an earthquake?
Look, I believe in the mud flood theory.
I don't know what that is.
It's something for not this episode, but maybe an episode in the future, Paula.
Great. With shaking that extended all the way south to Los Angeles, east to Nevada, and north to Oregon, it remains one of the worst natural disasters in American history.
Was Waffle House open or closed? That's how we judge natural disasters in America. If it's open, then it's not that bad.
It was razed to the ground.
Probably closed at least for a day then.
My name is Paula Deming, that is Matthew Jude, and if you travel just 48 miles south of San Francisco, you'll find yourself in the city of San Jose, on the doorstep of one of the most famous houses in America. One of the most haunted houses in America, some people say. The Winchester Mystery House.
I say those things. It's from a different show. Also, are we doing the same period of time again? We
are, yeah. So in our previous episode, hosted by Matthew.
Just south of San Francisco?
Just south of San Francisco, in roughly the same time period. We're apparently on the same page without realizing it.
For one time only.
If you haven't listened to Matthew's episode about the Emperor of America, you should go and listen to it. It's the one in the feed, probably right before this one.
I enjoy that we're going to be talking about ghosts because that is my jam.
You like this. Well, I'm taking seriously the History's Mysteries part of our little tagline.
Good. Let's lean into the mysteries.
Leaning into it. Well, what is this mystery house? What is the legend surrounding it? And how can we separate fact from that legend? Well, that, dear listener and dear Matthew, is what I want to talk about in this 2-part episode. Oh, that's right, 2 parts.
Just taking control over everything, aren't you? First, I'll host every other one, and now this.
So this is my way of slowly taking over and hosting every episode.
I mean, it's less research for me.
So the Winchester Mystery House was built by Sarah Winchester. Though she didn't call it her mystery house, she called it Yanada Villa, because calling your own home a mystery house is pretty presumptuous, I think.
I think it's beguiling. I like it.
Welcome to my mystery house. Come on inside. And people are like, what's so mysterious about it? I'm like, you have to find out. Like, I don't even know how you make that work.
Just try and find a bathroom. Every room is its own escape puzzle.
People will be like, we're not coming over anymore. We're not
visiting
anymore.
Come for dinner again. It took me so long to find my keys again, and then I had to solve a rudimentary riddle to get my jacket, and then you said, oh, it's through there, and where there's a mystery door there must be hidden a mystery key, and the whole thing.
It's too much effort. The food was not good enough to justify it. So Sarah purchased an 8-room farmhouse in 1866 in San Jose and began remodeling it.
She must have known the emperor then. It's exactly the same time.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm saying yes.
I think you're going to find here, though, that people reacted to Sarah very differently than they reacted to Emperor Norton.
Is it because she was a spinster?
Maybe. So over the next 40 to 50 years, this house is transformed into a rambling, her words, Victorian mansion. The house, as it stands now, and yes, you can go tour it, has 4 stories, and 161 rooms spanning 24,000 square feet and over 6 acres, which is just smaller than 6 American football fields, just to put that into perspective.
I can't picture it, but yes. I'm used to gardens being referred to as rambling, but the house itself, how many bedrooms are we talking?
Multiples. I don't actually have the number of bedrooms, but I can tell you that there were 2,000 doors, 10,000 windows.
No, hold on. That's too many doors. 2,000 doors does not equate to 161 rooms.
Well, some of those doors don't lead into rooms, as we're going to talk about.
Oh, this one just leads onto the veranda. There's no balcony.
Yes, exactly. So 2,000 doors, 10,000 windows, 47 fireplaces, but only 17 chimneys, 40 stairways, 13 bathrooms, 6 kitchens, 3 elevators, 2 hydraulic, 1 electric, boogie woogie woogie, which is a really good joke, 2 basements, and a partridge in a pear tree, which is another really good joke.
My question
Okay.
is, with so many doors and so many windows, what was keeping this building up? Where was the supporting structure? There's only so much wall you can take out before not enough beams.
Well, some of those doors were like Hobbit-sized doors, and some of those windows were little, and some were windows in walls inside of other rooms.
Was there any windows in the house that led just to look into another room?
There's definitely windows in the ceiling looking down into the next room below it.
I like that. I think that'd be quite good. Was there a fireman's pole? That's
I
my
don't
childhood
think there
dream.
was a fireman's pole. No.
Missed a trick there, didn't she?
She missed it. She missed out on that. So what's crazy is that this house used to be even bigger than this. At one point in time, it had 7 stories. And it's estimated that 500 to 600 rooms were built over the years. But there are only 161 now because Sarah was constantly rebuilding, remodeling, and changing the house.
It's just the worst part about living in a house is when work's being done on it.
Work was always being done on this one.
Just so noisy all the time.
She didn't care. But what makes this house a mystery isn't just the size.
Is it a portal?
A portal to the other side, maybe. We'll talk about it.
Hell?
There are a lot of strange architectural details, which we've already talked about a little bit. Some of those 161 rooms are inside of other rooms. There are doors that open into walls. One door that opens up into a 2-story drop down into the front garden below, a staircase that leads right into the ceiling, a skylight in the floor, and hallways and passages that twist and turn into a maze that most people would find impossible to navigate.
It sounds as though she needed a pole for that. One drop-off would have been a quick answer to that one. Also, I think it's rich of you to be against the room within a room idea, considering you're in a sound booth.
I am inside of a room. You are absolutely correct. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm just describing it as a thing that is a bit odd.
Three fingers pointing back at you, Paula. Just,
Yeah, you're right.
Some people say 4 fingers, but it's not 4 fingers, is it?
Because
They're just wrong.
your thumb isn't actually a finger. It's a thumb, and it's not pointing back at you. It's just pointing like, see everyone watching on the YouTube video?
It just depends how bad the arthritis gets, I suppose.
So why? Why is the house like this? What motivated Sarah Winchester to build something that makes no sense?
Was it a ghost?
According to one legend, it's because ghosts. Yes, you absolutely predicted what my next sentence was going to be. Thanks, Matthew.
Look, it's a motif we're bringing from another show.
This is very much, Matthew and I used to host a podcast with our friend Nick Murphy called Death by Monsters.
Rest in peace.
And this is very much a Death by Monsters kind of episode, honestly.
This is on my list of things to do for Death by Monsters.
To understand why some people believe Sarah Winchester was haunted, we need to understand a little bit more about her life before she was an architectural enigma. In 1862, Sarah Pardee of New Haven, Connecticut, because apparently I have an affinity for talking about people from Connecticut. William Gillette was also from Connecticut.
Rest in peace again.
In 1862, she married childhood friend William Wirt Winchester.
It's a weird way to put it.
What?
Childhood love would have felt more...
They just grew up together.
It sounds like a pact. If we're still lonely at... What? In the 1800s, if we're still lonely at 21, we should marry each other.
They were like early 20s, I think, when they got married. No, this is my way of skipping over all of the details I could have put in about how the families lived near each other. They grew up together. They were very close, blah, blah, blah. That was my way of trying to be succinct, Matthew.
Thanks. So I appreciate that.
Because very little of the rest of this episode is succinct. I struggle with that. I'm a painter, not a pointer.
Didn't start out as a 2-parter.
It didn't. So William's father, Oliver Winchester, had made a fortune as a clothing manufacturer, and in 1856 he purchased the bankrupt Volcanic Repeating Arms Company, renaming it the New Haven Arms Company. There, he manufactured the Henry repeating rifle, which was used in the Civil War by some Union soldiers, not all of them, but some of them, as well as later by Sioux and Cheyenne people when they defeated General Custer. That's just a fun fact I thought we should throw in there.
Lots of fun, that one.
Here's another fun one. Some 14,000 Henry rifles were produced.
Are they worth a lot of money now?
I mean, probably if you're a gun enthusiast.
Go and find them and hunt them down and...
Hunt them down. I see what you did there.
Look, how can we make money out of this is what I'm asking. And if we can buy some guns, get into the arms deal ourselves, Paul, I feel like that's an avenue I'm morally okay with.
Well, I'm not sure it's a good idea, because if the consequences for us are the same as the supposed consequences for Sarah Winchester, I don't know if I want to get in the arms deal. I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to be haunted.
Depends how much money's involved. I'll take a haunting.
Pay me enough money, I'll let you haunt me.
Haunt me, sugar daddy.
In 1866, Oliver Winchester renamed his company the Winchester Repeating Rifle Company and began...
Oh!
Yeah.
This
is how it's all...
Gotcha.
We're making a journey here through history to get to the stuff that's actually relevant, as I like to do. So he begins manufacturing a gun that improved on the Henry design, calling it the Winchester Model 1866. Very creative. What should I name this? Maybe the year I've made it. The later model, 1873, was hugely popular and is referred to as the gun that won the West. It was widely used by both cowboys and Native Americans and was loved by people like Buffalo Bill, Annie Oakley, and Teddy Roosevelt. So what made these guns different? And I think this is important to talk about, which is why I'm going into it. What made these guns different was the repeating part of the rifle. Rather than needing to be reloaded after every shot, which is how most guns at this time were, the lever action on the gun would eject the spent cartridge and push the new one into place. One stat that I found said that the gun could fire up to 15 shots in 10 seconds. So this is like massive compared to like shooting one, needing to reload, shooting another, needing to reload. That's slow, and you're likely to get shot while you're reloading.
You shoot once, miss, then everyone goes, hold on, wait a second.
Whoa, time out, time,
you
pause,
reload, I'll reload, we'll just calm down here.
Reload.
That's why I've still got this sword.
It's like when you're playing like Mortal Kombat or something, you're like, whoa, hold on. We're not starting the fight yet. I just need to hit all the buttons and figure out what my special moves are.
We've done that.
So 4 years into their marriage, Sarah and William have a baby, Annie. She is tragically diagnosed with marasmus, which means she's unable to take in nutrients from her food. She essentially starves to death and dies at just 5 weeks old.
Oh, that's awful.
It's pretty awful. Yeah, it's pretty awful. The year is 1866. The same year Oliver Winchester had begun making the Winchester rifle. Just saying.
Is that a connection you're trying to make there?
I don't know. See what connection you come up with in your own brain. You know what I mean?
Just planting that seed to harvest it later on.
Gonna water it throughout the episode, watch it grow. Then, in 1880, Sarah's mother dies. A few months later, Oliver Winchester, her father-in-law, dies. Then, in March 1881, William dies after a long struggle with tuberculosis.
Any of them shot by Winchester rifle?
None of them shot, no. This all happens within less than 1 year of each other. Sarah is suddenly heir to the Winchester fortune. $20 million in 1880s money. It's like $500 million today. Plus, she has a 50% holding in the Winchester Repeating Rifle Company. Her daily, money-making amount, her daily income is $1,000 a day. In 1880s money.
That's like struggle to spend it money, right, in those days.
Yeah, she had to spend it somehow, and boy, she finds a way. It's like bonkers money.
How many moving pictures could one person witness?
Legend has it that, racked with guilt and grief, she goes to see a medium named Adam Coons in an attempt to communicate with her dead loved ones. Instead, Adam tells her she's cursed, doomed to be haunted by the ghosts of every person who ever died at the hands of a Winchester rifle. She must move west and build a home for all those lost souls. And as long as the hammers never cease, neither will her life. Thus begins decades of nonstop construction.
I feel like what would have been better for her would be the kind, comforting lies of closure. But the curse, I feel like, is being told that you need to build a house forever.
Yeah, that's the real curse.
Was this guy's family mowed down by Winchester rifles in a hilarious accident or something?
I don't know that it would be a hilarious accident.
Closure is what you want from any medium or anything like that. Closure.
Yeah.
Not an endless task of rolling a boulder up and down a hill forever.
Right.
That's
not what she gets.
What a dick.
Yeah. She moves out west, she buys that farmhouse in San Jose, and she begins to remodel. She has workers there around the clock, coming in shifts so that construction can continue 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, so they say.
So she really felt like she work couldn't stop, otherwise she's going to get good and haunted.
I mean, the legend says as long as the hammers never cease, the ghosts won't kill her.
Some guy. That guy's an absolute dick. I really don't like him. Also, do what everyone else does. Pay to see a medium until you find one that tells you what you want to hear, and then believe them.
Exactly. It's like
Shop
get
around.
A second opinion and a third and a fourth and a fifth. If you need to. You got the money.
She got the money.
So some say the layout of this house is designed to be confusing as a way to keep the ghost lost and searching for Sarah, never finding her to be able to enact their revenge. She would keep them on their incorporeal toes by sleeping in a different bedroom every night. Got 'em.
That's exhausting. It sounds like such an exhausting existence. Also, does she have to be in the house? Can she not just be in a different house down the road while this other house gets...
lives.
I feel bad for her. I've never said that about someone so wealthy in my entire life, but I do feel bad for her.
Others say Sarah actually got the building instructions from the ghosts themselves. And I actually think this is more likely, because you know how impractical ghosts are, right? They'll tell you to put a wall anywhere. They don't care. They float right through them.
It's true. Just put it up. I'm not looking at the plans twice.
Yeah, they're just like, whatever, do whatever. It doesn't matter. We can move through anything. It is kind of a conflicting thing, right? Like, she builds the house to be confusing so the ghosts can't find her, but also the ghosts were the ones giving her the plans to build the house. So
let's just not beat around this. It doesn't make a lick of sense.
Makes no sense. As we're going to find as we go on, there are some conflicting legend details. Notice how I keep using the word legend and some say, as the story goes.
Rumor has it.
Allegedly, she slept in a different bedroom every night. According to this legend that I keep referencing, Sarah held seances every night in what is called the Blue Room. She had the only key to this room, and she would hold her seances at 2 a.m. each morning, emerging only once she'd received her spectral blueprints to give to the workers that day. She had dismissed. She started out with an architect and quickly dismissed him and was like, no, I'll come up with the plans.
Do you have the TV show Grand Designs in America?
No, I don't think so.
It's basically this guy goes around to people who are building their dream home, and he kind of shits all over them all, basically. He tells them all that, why have you done this? And then they go over budget and stuff. It sounds like she could have done with him popping a visit, going over and saying, so, when's it finished?
She's like, never. Excuse me, I'm cursed.
I love what you've done with
never?
I love what you've done with this floating staircase. But... how many pools do you really need?
She's like, as many as I want? Get out of here. I'm rich.
Also, if you don't want to have ghosts in your house, rule number 1, stop having seances.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why I'm like, there will be no Ouija board in my house because I want the ghosts to stay away. But Sarah's like, all right, bring them in. Talk to me, ghost daddy.
I see what you're saying, though. These are conflicting legends.
And this legend continues that work on the house never stopped until the moment Sarah died in 1922. When the workers found out, they dropped what they were doing and left. Some not even bothering to finish hammering their nails into the walls, leaving them sticking out. They're like, oh, she dead? Bye.
I mean, yeah, I've worked construction. If the person that you're working for dies, you get off that day, aren't you? You're not going to carry on. What would be the point?
I don't know, artistic integrity?
Well, no, it's not even the satisfaction of a job well done, Paula. They've been building this house for their entire lives as well,
finish
probably.
Sticking that nail in the wall, though. I mean, come on. At least, 1-2 more swings of your hammer.
No, this is how you do it. That's when you leave a site, or you leave a site for the day. You kind of, nail it in and you put your tool belt on it.
They're like, see ya, hanging this thing up, never doing this again.
I did bricklaying, and just the idea that it's possible that it could rain is enough for us all to go home.
To this day, the house remains haunted, and you can watch BuzzFeed Unsolved, Ghost Adventures, and all other kinds of ghost hunters wander the rooms in the dark, trying to prove it to you. But what if, Matthew? What if it had nothing to do with ghosts? What if Sarah was trying to use the house to leave us all a coded message?
Oh my God, yes. Please. Please tell me there's a coded message. This is what I want. Is the floor plan actually a Nordic rune? And the runes spell out the name of they're actually GPS, coordinates to a field. And in the field, there's a box. You better believe there's 3 keys in that box, Paula. Keys, Paula. Keys to other rooms in different places. A mystery.
Your favorite
thing. Is there
thing.
a pool of mercury? Oh, God, I love this.
So Sarah studied, way back in the day, back in Connecticut, Sarah studied at the Young Ladies Collegiate Institute at Yale College, where 2 of her professors were, you guessed it, Freemasons.
Ghosts!
Not ghosts. Can you imagine if, where 2 of her professors had been dead all along?
The whole time.
No wonder they never interacted with anyone but Sarah. No, they were Freemasons, Matthew.
Okay. My dad was a Freemason, though, Paula, and I tell you what, no mystery about him.
Did you know that Freemasons come from just stonemasons? They're just people who, do construction. So it makes sense.
I tell you, I've done a lot of research on the Masons in my life. I've gone down many Masonic rabbit holes that led me to Rosicrucian rabbit holes, that led me to Knights Templar and all manner of things. I've been down those roads. I've had sleepless nights.
I'm expecting you to help me with some of this because what I'm about to talk about, I don't really understand. But I wrote it in here and I hope that you will be like, oh yeah, I know what that means. Do you know the name Delia Bacon?
Doesn't sound like a real name, I'll say that much.
It is a real name, and she wasn't dead all along. This is one of Sarah Winchester's school friends, and Delia Bacon is the first person to publish the theory that Francis Bacon, no relation, wrote all of Shakespeare's works.
Oh, yeah then, because we did a show on Shakespeare, then I must have at least known this at one point.
Yeah, probably at one point. That's why I wondered if this name stuck in your brain. So yes, again, another reference to our old podcast, Death by Monsters, where we did a whole episode on who was Shakespeare really. And Delia Bacon thinks it's Francis Bacon.
Well, yeah, didn't Francis Bacon help co-author one of the stories? They think. Look, we might put that episode might end up in the.
We might have to just drop that in this feed. Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's an interesting one. I like that a lot.
So, could all of this have influenced Sarah in her outlook on life? Did her love of math translate into an obsession with codes, numerology, and other Rosicrucian theories?
Look, Paula, what's a woman in the 1800s doing mathematics? I just can't agree with that at all.
She was super smart. I don't think I've said this, but she knew 4 languages. She was able to play multiple instruments. She's very upper crust, highly educated,
learned,
intelligent, learned, a true polyglot, really. She really knew a lot. Was really smart. So her house is full of prime numbers, 7, 11, and 13. Her will, I didn't put this anywhere else in the script, but her will had 13 sections, signed 13 times. Whoa!
Look, knowing what I know about the Shakespearean folio and how that you definitely need a mirror if you're reading a will, because if you look at it backwards and then you turn a few things round and you draw Da Vinci's David over the top of it, the things that it points to not only are the Giza Plateau, but it's also look, there's, I love it so much, Paula.
Oh gosh, this is the kind of stuff, honestly, that makes me like roll my eyes, but here we go.
Oh, it's real.
Her house is also filled with other Freemason symbols. The front gates of the property feature suns, all in the ironwork. They are a little bit untraditional, though, because in the center is a daisy. As far as I know, that's not a Freemason symbol, but suns. There are suns.
There's not much ominous energy coming from a daisy, I feel like, which is a key thing. Though, I mean, in some way, like you said, just the idea that it's always being built has a Masonic feel to it, right?
That is never like stopping.
Yeah. Is that why it had 7 floors? I guess it is.
Yeah, maybe. Why? I don't know, but maybe. 7 floors, that's a number 7. Visitors are led to a side entrance, so through this gate to a side entrance where they have to climb a switchback staircase. They can't go in the main entrance, Matthew, because the front door was installed with no outside handle. Like you do.
Actually, honestly, that is how I would want my front door.
Tell me you want no solicitors without telling me you want no solicitors.
I can open the door to let you in, but you can't open the door yourself. That sounds, honestly, just like breathing out for the first time. It's delicious.
So this side entrance was apparently, I haven't confirmed this, but apparently it was on the northwest corner of the house, which is meaningful for Masonic temples. You have to enter through the northwest corner.
Okay.
I don't know. This is what I've read, but I don't really know anything about it. So this switchback staircase winds upward in the shape of an Archimedes spiral, turning in on itself 7 times with 44 stairs.
That sounds exhausting.
They're low, though. They're like 2 inches high, so it's kind of ramp-like. Okay. Matthew, is this a symbol of the Jacob's Ladder? Is this Sarah showing us her devotion to Masonic traditions?
Yes, I actually do think so, yes. Why else do it?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense not to do. I mean, why would you? I mean, I know that she's definitely got some mental health issues here. Let's be very frank and honest about that. There's some compulsion going on here to carry on building, and the fear of this curse doesn't feel like enough to devote your whole life to it. But the Masonic things I can totally believe. But then again, I can always believe that.
I thought you might like this bit, yeah. Inside the ballroom of the house are 2 beautiful stained glass windows featuring Shakespeare quotes. One reads, "Wide unclasp the tables of their thoughts," and the other, "These same thoughts people this little world." The first quote is from Troilus and Cressida, and the second from Richard II. Richard Allen Wagner, a Freemason, Rosicrucian, and author, theorizes that Act 4, Scene 5 from Troilus and Cressida and Act 5, Scene 5 from Richard II, which is what these quotes are respectively from, were chosen very purposefully as they create the numbers 45, Act 4, Scene 5, 45, and 55, Act 5, Scene 5. The number 45, with regard to the Pythagorean cipher, corresponds to the name Shakespeare. And the number 55 matches the name Hiram Abiff, who is a central figure in a Freemason allegory.
Gotcha. See, this is all stuff I totally believe, and I totally buy into all this. I always buy into all this type of stuff. But when you look at Shakespeare's folio, right, their first folio, people really don't want to believe that there's anything in there that's not just on the face of it. But the level of coincidence that would have to be in that first folio is it's impossible that it wasn't put there on purpose. There are so many parts of that, even the opening page. I'd have to go back and look at all the research that I did on this, but there's just so much there that there is 1000%, I would put my entire heart and soul on it that there is a code there, and it just is. It's there. You can see it when it's shown you, and I could totally believe someone would build that into this house. That makes so much sense to me.
Well, let me blow your mind a little more. 45 plus 55, Matthew, is 100, which is simple cipher for the name Francis Bacon. Sarah Winchester's like, you know who Shakespeare was? Francis Bacon.
I don't think it was Francis Bacon, though. So
I don't either.
That's my thing. I don't think it was Francis Bacon. More of a John Dee situation going on, if you ask me, but that's just me.
So maybe these windows are a reference to Sarah's Baconian beliefs. I can't say Baconian without thinking about bacon bits. I'm not going to lie. But maybe this is her way of being like, look, I buy into this philosophy that Francis Bacon had, this Rosicrucian, this Freemason thing. And this is how I'm expressing that. Maybe because she was influenced by her friendship with Delia Bacon or her former professors.
You know, the thing is, though, as well, also, The Baconator was released on April the 5th. Did you know that for the first time? In some kind of sick homage to Francis. That's not true.
Did you know The Baconator from Wendy's was released to the public on April 5th? And if you add all those numbers together, you get Rosicrucian nonsense.
Well, the thing is, it's not, even if it's not true, right? Even if none of it's real, the fact that the code is there is true. It just doesn't mean it's pointing to something that's real, right? So in the first folio, even if there is no, we actually spoke about this in the last episode.
Yeah.
Even if, like I believe, it's very possible that the manuscripts of Shakespeare are buried on Oak Island in Canada in a vat of mercury, which is something I might believe is true. But even if it's not, it doesn't mean that the code saying that it isn't there. The code's there, it's just pointing to something that's not true.
Maybe.
The code itself is real.
I wasn't sure I was going to say this part. I wrote this into my script and then was like, I don't know, but I have to now because we're talking about this. I just don't believe in this stuff. I think too much of the Freemason, Rosicrucian stuff is people working backwards from a solution, looking for clues to try to confirm their bias that they already have.
Also, it could be, there's a whole idea that it's a lot of smoke and mirrors and pointing everyone. You put all this stuff in to point people off in one direction while the left hand doesn't see what the right hand's doing, right? So you point everyone off in this way so that you can be doing your own things. You're pointing everyone into the ethereal so you can be doing something very corporeal, right? That you can be doing taxes and stuff that aren't quite right on over here and saying, "Oh,
yeah, that's interesting.
Shakespeare was a ghost."
Yeah.
You know, and that type of stuff.
Well, it's
and
like the FBI releasing like alien documents so that people will talk about that instead of what they're actually up to.
Even though, let's be real, I believe.
Matthew believes in a lot of things. If you don't know Matthew Jude yet, and this is your first exposure to him, Matthew believes in a lot of things.
Let me tell you about Dogman, because if there's any cryptid I believe in, Paula, as you well know...
Yeah, it's Dogman.
It's Dogman.
I am not convinced that Dogman is not real.
Dogman, look it up. It sounds like I'm joking. I'm not
He's not joking.
I believe in Dogman.
Well, here's an example of why I think people who believe in this stuff, and I will excuse you from it.
Thank you, because I'm right here. It'd be so awkward.
But a lot of people who try and prove this kind of thing on the internet, this is an example of why I think they just are twisting and turning everything to get the solution they want. And this is a quote from Richard Alan Wagner's website that I used as research for this. And I want to be really respectful of him, but here's a quote, okay? This is what he says. The plot grows thicker when we note that the names Sarah Pardee, this is Sarah Winchester's maiden name, if you remember, and Francis Bacon both correspond in the Pythagorean cipher with the number 51. Moreover, If she included her middle initial, L, the number in Sarah's name then add up to 54, which, when reversed, i.e. 45, corresponds to the name Shakespeare. I'm just like, they're like,
There's
okay, if you
some
take this
numerology
number
stuff.
and then you
Yeah.
add this thing to make the number I want, and then you have to reverse it, and suddenly it's the number I really wanted. I'm like, and then if you add 7 to it, I'm like, what? If you can just add any number you want to anything you have and then reverse it to get any solution you want, is it actually supporting
there's only so
anything?
many numbers, between 1 and 10, and you can kind of diddle those around a lot. It's like I saw recently someone saying that 2023 is going to be the end of the world because 2021, 2022, and 2023, if you take away the 0, all the 2s add up to 6, the 1, 2, and the 3 add up to 6. It all adds, it's 666 the year. Even though in a Egyptian garbage pile recently, this is true, they found a massively predating version of that part of the Bible that says the number of the beast is 666. And in that version, this is one that it predates every other version that they found so far. In that version, it definitely says the number of the devil is 667. So
Interesting.
So all this 666 stuff is wrong anyway because 667 is the number of the beast.
So yeah, those are the legends and theories about Sarah Winchester and her mystery house. Ghosts or Freemason conspiracies?
Both.
Or both. Why not both? And they're fun. And they're creepy and weird and intriguing, which is why I did this whole episode on them. But are they true? Where did these legends even come from? And do they do, what I'm mostly concerned about, Matthew, is do they do justice to Sarah Winchester, the actual real person who existed?
Look, Paula, it's more fun just to believe, right, and ignore the human element. I feel like that's where my heart is.
It is fun. It's fun to believe and talk about all these weird theories because they're fun.
Do you think the Lost Dutchman's mind's real?
I don't know, maybe.
Yes, it is.
It's fun to think it is.
I'd dedicate my life to it, Paula. I've said this to you many times. Someone just needs to give me a map with an X on it.
And that's it. Your life is set.
I would dedicate my life to that and probably get more fulfillment than doing anything else. Because at least I have purpose.
But doing justice to Sarah Winchester and who she was and her memory, that's what I want to try and do. And that's what we're actually going to talk about in part 2. I'm going to try to separate fact from fiction and talk a little bit about how and why these kinds of legends might form. So stay tuned for that, I guess.
Paula, thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. I enjoyed this.
Good.
It was fun.
I'm glad I almost didn't go into all the Freemason stuff, and I'm glad I did because I feel like that really, that's your jam.
I live for Freemason. Why couldn't my dad stick around? Because I could be in the Masons as an undercover operative.
It could be.
He could have invited me in. I could have got the spankings and a few paddlings and done whatever it is.
Gone through the initiate process.
Work all the way up to 33rd level. Probably do some more spanking and casual light petting. And then I'm in. I'm in with the secrets. But no, I'm destined not to be part of that now. Thank you everyone so much for watching this episode. And remember, we appreciate you so damn much. And if you enjoyed it, then you know what? We would love it if you could comment below and subscribe and thumb up this video. That would mean a lot to us. But the best thing that you could possibly do is share this with somebody else who you think might enjoy it, because it's the best way to grow anything like this video podcast thing. What are we calling this?
It's a video podcast thing. Yep, that's it. That's the technical term.
That's it. Until next time, everybody, stay fantastic, and I'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.